Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Welcome back, Jonathan. Been a while.
I was on the train today. I didn't get
Wow.
on the wrong one. The wrong one came by. I didn't fall for that trick again.
Really, you're really becoming a true New Yorker, not falling for the A train trick. Believe me, nobody in the MTA is playing tricks intentionally. They play tricks on us, but not intentionally. Anyway, we are back. Yes, the subways are running normally all the time, even through the weekends. We had that bus situation going from Euclid for a while. But anyway, we're back. Good to be back. It's a Friday. 9-race card today. Pick 6 was hit yesterday. One tough horse, particularly, I guess 1.5 tough horses, and it paid 30-something thousand.
The
There's some-
non-carryover days I have found to be kind of nice. You can pick up some with some very simple approaches.
There was a double carryover yesterday.
Well, I'm just saying
Okay.
in general though.
Well, I think there are cases for sure where they aren't hit on a non-carryover day, and they are hit on carryovers. And not to say obviously more money in the pools and more but yes, it's played very differently. Obviously more money, but a little bit differently. And there are opportunities. Listen, pick sixes are a fun and interesting part of the game. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, use the promo code CUP25. Breeders' Cup starts next Friday, so we'll have this until the weekend or into next week. You not only get the $200 match bonus, but you also get a $25 bet for the Breeders' Cup. Doing a little work, been going through those pre-entries at all and checking them out.
Yeah, no, we started doing some podcast stuff with it, so starting to go through it. It's always a kind of a guessing game of who's actually going to run.
Well, yeah, Steve Bick actually had put on his board, I saw today, I think, a list of the Aidan O'Brien horses that aren't coming, which is helpful because you know they enter a lot of horses and they don't all come. And been making my way through the doing the work on Racing Post, looking up the Europeans to watch some replays and taking a look and trying to get an idea of them. And my next job is the Japanese horses.
Anything excite you yet? Give us a
No,
little-
I don't really. I'm going to put all the information together, and I won't. I'll start doing like handicapping maybe on Sunday or Monday, and then so then when they draw the races and who's in and what posts they get. The big news, of course, being that Idiomatic is out,
Oh no, I saw that.
and unfortunately she was lame, I guess, in her left knee. I read the Judd Munt site, and she's been retired. So
I had
that's a
Fleur
big
on.
loss.
I had Fleur on my podcast yesterday just to talk about it, and then today's.
Yeah, so it's your fault. In other words, yeah, that's too bad. We love Florent.
That would have been fun.
Sorry, yeah, that was really, I mean, arguably the marquee matchup, Idiomatic and Torpedo Anna.
It was feeling to me like it was going to be Beholder Songbird.
It just felt like it was really, you like the older horse, the champion, the 3-year-old, who's obviously going to be champion 3-year-old this year. Nothing can prevent that, and you want to see the matchup, and unfortunately that's been lost. And it's tough, and you always lose ones, but you hate to lose, especially the top guns like a horse like Idiomatic, who's had such a great career. Also, check out Track Stats when you're over at Naira Bets as well. What else do we have, Eddie? Contest? Yes. You have till post time today, the $40 feeder on Fridays, but if you want to play the $300 Saturday, you'll post time tomorrow. Get all the info at nairabets.com/contests, and we're on from 12:30 to 5, covering all the action here at Belmont at the Big A. Race number 1. We'll take a look at Usha. I'll go, I think, a couple races back when she finished second. And listen, she's been facing real company out in California, some of the better 2-year-old fillies in California. But at the end of the day, she's very fast. She's a New York bred, probably running where she should be running. She's the worst to beat. Do you really trust her? And she ain't going to be 7-2. She'll be favored by post time.
Yeah, look, she's one of those horses that she hasn't necessarily finished her races, but she's so fast early. She projects to have a significant lead against these horses.
It's hard to
where
believe
even
she
if
won't.
she doesn't finish her race, she's probably still going to get to the wire first.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that she keeps falling apart. And New York bred running in opens or not, she's a Baffert 2-5 shot that disappointed badly. Then she's 3-5 and she disappointed badly. I picked against her. I'm not against her. I think it would be foolish to be. I'm just guessing with the first-time starter with a horrible name. This horse is a fast work. Running for Jorge Abreu, I just have a lot of respect with his firsters. You obviously put the horse second. It's a second foal from a dam. There's nothing special about the first foal, but it just feels like Jorge Abreu is often live with these horses, so I'm totally guessing with this one. I know nothing.
No, it's from his first-time starters run extremely well. I was trying to find a way to beat Usha because she feels like she likes to get beat. I felt like I was guessing a little bit, which
I'm guessing too.
Yeah,
I'm
but
totally
you're probably,
guessing.
the
I know
price is
nothing.
probably going to be acceptable.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They're all betting the 3 early right now, Mischief Lady. I don't know if it's because she ran in the lady finger as much as Eddie Barker's barn has been very hot with a limited number of starters up here. And I get that way of thinking. And I won't be surprised when this horse runs okay in here. She seems fine. You know, she got a good figure, but it was at Finger Lakes last time.
Yeah, she got an okay figure, sloppy racetrack. They ran a little bit. The pace figures were honest enough. It makes her competitive in here. It's a tricky race because the 5 could ease and run 4th.
Yeah, the five could just could stop in the stretch.
100%.
I don't totally trust her, but she is the horse to beat. Race number 2, it's sort of the battle of the horses trying to find their way, or horses that were stake horses. And we'll start with Law Professor, the horse you and I both have on top, and we'll go back 2 races. I think the race where he beat Olympic Dreams. He's won off layoffs before. Rob Atch's barn has gotten very hot. He had been cold for a while. His horse has been running very well the last week or two. And he's just kind of a reliable horse. And I don't know how much I trust some of the others. So I sort of copped out with him as well, Jonathan.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he drew the inside because I would like to see a more aggressive version of Law Professor, I think, especially in this group. And I think from the rail, it doesn't give Kendrick, he's got options, but I don't think he's going to take back and eat a bunch of dirt with this horse.
Supposed to be sitting third with this horse within hailing distance. And the other thing is, how do you pronounce the 4? Is it Tabagosh or it's I don't know, it's some weird pronunciation that I'll never get right. I'm just not a fan of him. And as far as Bendug, the horse that we both have second and the obvious other horse in the race, we'll take a look. I think I'm going to show the Suburban where he lost fair and square to Krupe, who, and Krupe sort of beat the way the track was playing a little bit. And Krupe's a very solid horse. I mean, he's really come around. A horse that, that highly touted, took a while to break his maiden, but he's been very solid. I don't know. I'm a little sick of this horse. I feel like he emerged last spring like a horse that might be a player in the big races this summer, and he just hasn't panned out. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like the allowance version of Skippy Longstocking. It's like the right spot, he can win, but he's not going to overcome.
Are they really running Skippy in this classic instead of the mile?
I didn't see which one they would they.
The mile is their second preference.
I guess.
I don't like him in either race, but I'm just surprised that they wouldn't. It is a lot more money that he won't be getting. Right, he'll have lost for a lot more money than he would have lost in the mile for, where he'd be a much shorter, where he'd be 1/10 the price. Yeah, I guess he can win. I won't be surprised if he wins. I had wanted to make a case for the horse. I mean, we have the race the same. Classic Catch, who had that preposterous wide trip last time, but I know he's been scratched at least once since then. And where has he been for the last 3.5 months? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a long break. I mean, he's been working, and it looks pretty consistent.
I think he's not impossible, but is he going to get enough pace to run at? Both horses he has to beat sort of have a pace advantage on him. So it feels like he'd have to be every bit as good as both Law Professor and Bendug, and I don't think he's as good as either one of them, frankly.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe Bendug. Maybe.
I mean, the last time his horse won was in an off-the-turf race.
Yes, he did.
I just don't necessarily trust him.
Yeah, he should have won the Jockey Club Invitational. He was unlucky in that race. And it's funny, they tried to get him to go long in the turf, and they kind of abandoned that. And it's kind of interesting they did. Now, Todd obviously has done well with that Grand horse that's overachieved this year in the turf, Grand Sonata. But it felt like Classic Catch. The whole idea in that Saratoga race, and even was to get him to get to the Jockey Club Derby. And even Todd said it in the interview afterwards, and they did. And that race got rained off like an hour before the race, if not less than that. It was the best field we ever had, which for what I hope is the penultimate running of the Jockey Club Derby Invitational this year, being the last one. I hope. It's just not a race that's panned out. It's just not a race that's worked out. 1 3/8 for 3-year-olds in the fall, or it just doesn't work out. And it's an invitation for Europeans to come here and grab the purse. We'll see, because I think he could be a distance turf horse, probably going longer. What's interesting? I wonder if Todd would have any inclination to come back in a few weeks, or if it's too soon, in the Red Smith. Take like a shot with him, at 1 3/8 on the turf. Just a thought. Anyway, race number 3. I think you and I agree on race number 3. Wow. And I'm curious what your thinking was with Gallant Greta.
Yeah, it's just a situation. I just think she's better. I just better than these horses. If you look at with the races, the figures from the last two. I usually
they're turf races,
Yeah,
the
I
last
know,
two.
but but the other horses just aren't very fast. So even if this horse Greta takes a step back because she prefers turf, I just think she's better.
I didn't realize she was going to be favored here. I wouldn't have picked her as the favorite. And see, I have a different philosophy. I would never bet her off the turf races, though I think she ran well in both her turf races. I thought she was interesting off her debut, and even though she spent a lot of time in the rail, she ended up angling off it. I thought she was very green after breaking a step slow first time, and I thought she ran well enough first time she should win. Now, I thought I was being a bit of a wise guy, and frankly, at those lines, I probably should have switched it and gone 6-5, because I think Purpose is a dangerous other horse. Ran against Caldwell Loves Gold, in the New York Derby the time before that, was sort of didn't break first time out. It just feels like this is a horse that might be okay. And geez, if it's 7-2 versus 9-5, I'd rather bet the 6, to be honest. I don't know if you disagree.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll change that. I just this one. We've talked about this before, where Greta was running 98 and 96 Timeform US on the turf. So even if she takes a step back, I agree. At a short price, I don't love her, but I do think she is without a doubt the most likely winner.
I agree. I just don't love her. I didn't consider she'd be that short. I thought they would bet Granadilla, but I guess she's had so many chances, and getting her to get 7 furlongs just seems like a Herculean ask, doesn't it?
I completely agree. I think that she's one of those horses where if you look at her pace figure, she slows down in the back ends of her races. So why, from the rail, do you expect that she's going to go 7?
Unless you think she's going to get a slower pace because she's going 7. We'll see how much speed Empire Magic shows. I think Greta is going to have a little more speed, though not the speed that Granadilla has. We'll see. We're both against her. We saw the race in a very similar manner. Race number 4 kicks off the pick 6 today. And we'll take a look at Scarlet Poppy and Saratoga, 2 races back. And she did have legitimate trouble last time as well at Kentucky Downs, but she's the Stone Street horse on the inside. I mean, Flavian has to completely eat her the whole stretch.
I remember I had played her this day, and I remember my first thought was, Flavian, what are you doing? Go to the rail, duck down to the rail, and put her in. If you watch the head on, he couldn't get there. He was equal with the 3 horse, I believe, to the inside, and he couldn't get over there. He was stuck in there. I mean, she would have won that race for fun if she would have got
Really? See, I'm not sure. Maybe.
I think she would have got out.
Maybe. I'm not sure what to do with her, but she ran well behind Rick's threshold, and she had a bit of a trip last time out that she was steadied back. Sort of hard to watch, that race. There's no actual head-on available. I don't know if you tried to watch it. There's this weird side view of it, which doesn't really do any good. But she did have trouble. I don't have a problem with her other than the fact that she's going to be a very, very short price. And as far as Summer and Aaron, that was a good race that she's coming out of. Creditworthy is a very talented Klarovich horse. The second horse was one of those weird Melanie Giddings, Sean Bridgman horses that ran like a fire-breathing dragon and came back and stunk the joint up, I believe, in a subsequent start. 4th finisher came back and improved 6 points. I'm wondering if this horse just needed a race first time out in a tough field. So I took her as the other horse against Scarlet Poppy, who was just going to be a very short price, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. She wasn't, she was 7-1 in the teeth of an odds-on Chad Brown runner. I would consider that bet a little bit.
That it should have won its first start, that had gotten unlucky the first time out. What do you think of Escondido, the 6? Because there is plenty of turf pedigree on a horse that ran well first time, but has been atrocious, but has been gelded, and you wonder if maybe there was something bothering the horse as to why it ran so badly 2 straight times.
The debut was monstrous.
The horse ran giant at first time out.
Yeah, ran huge. Yeah, I mean, I guess, taking the blinkers off, and getting onto the grass, like you said, there's been a couple of horses that ran Gather, Stephanie on Fleek, both ran fine on the grass. Collected is a more than ready, right? I know I shouldn't ask a question, and then I think it's more than ready. Yeah.
No, he's City Zip.
City Zip, excuse me.
He's 9% with turf sprinters, but he's 16% with turf routers, so he has success a little bit random there.
Sure.
And the Dams produced 2 turf winners. I saw it there. I wonder why David has Father Dalton 3-1 in this race first time out. Second fall from a horse that was okay on the turf, but probably better on the dirt, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Maker?
I don't know. It's why would Maker be a super short price with a firster? I wonder if there's a story that's been working well or something. It just seemed like I mean, I guess maybe. I mean, General Agent's a little interesting, but he just ran against so much cheaper last time. But this horse did have a bit of a trip, but just ran against such a lesser of a field, right?
Yeah.
Did you follow the story from Comenius Park, by the way, with the disqualification and the subsequent cancellation of racing?
No.
They had a special Monday holiday card. Rajiv called me about it, and I'd seen something about it on Twitter. And there was a strange disqualification. And apparently the well-educated racing fans down at Comenius Park, and I don't say that facetiously, they didn't like it, and it got a little unruly at the racetrack, and they canceled the rest of the card. I believe that the disqualification has been rescinded. I watched a video on YouTube yesterday, and somebody was saying they've overruled it. You should find it and watch it. You think you've seen disqualifications you disagree with? They ain't nothing compared to this one.
Really?
I mean, that was a crazy one. Yeah, listen, I mean, I have a great respect for the Jamaican racing fans, and they are our friends here that follow the game. They are students of the game, and they weren't wrong. That was a crazy DQ.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you should go. You should find it. I think I might have it. I'll see if I can get it. I'll show it to you later. I'll text it to you or something. But I'm sure some other people saw it as well. And I believe that it's been overturned. All right, race number 5 kicks off the late pick 5. Also ends the early pick 5. I copped out here with Bold Ambition. We'll see him winning 2 back for Safi Joseph. At the end of the day, this was a bad claim for 75 and a bad claim for 50. Horse breaks its maiden for 75. I'm not sure why you're rushing in to pay 50 for the horse. Has 3-year-old restricted races, I guess, and now this is running against Olders. And I know I don't trust him to get back to what he did for Safi. He has run big figure on the dry track as well as slop. At the end of the day, when Berry Funny was the other horse he had to beat, I just put him on top on the drop down, but I don't blame you for picking against him.
Yeah, look, I mean, if he runs back to some of his back races, it's going to be tough. Just the aggressive drop. I just looked for an opportunity to try to go elsewhere, and I went towards the outside to Vinsanity. I just thought
big rider change.
What's that?
It's a big rider change.
Yeah. The race 2 back, trouble. Horse got shuffled in there, was wide. I thought ran well. And look, I just figured it would be a price in here. You're almost guaranteed to get a price of the money that Berry Funny and Bold Ambition are going to take.
I agree. It's going to be a price. I gave the horse a long look. I ended up putting him 5th. I agree. But as far as Berry Funny, will show, I think, his last race. And he's just a complete and total hanger. I mean, he's got 8 thirds with just the 1 win and 1 second. He does not seal the deal, this guy. And I don't see why a mile is so special for him either.
Yeah, I wanted to give him excuses for not his last start. That just, whatever. He ran fine. The 2 and 3 before that, where he ran 3rd, 2 and 3 back. He was wide all the way around there. For Maker, I'm just hoping maybe second off the claim or second off the trainer change in the claim that maybe this horse will kind of get figured out a little bit. I don't need him. I just think he's a likely horse.
Yeah, I mean, you've got him and Ice Road back-to-back, 2 horses that don't like to win, and that's basically why I settled on the 3, but maybe you have the right idea with the 8, because get that rider switch and didn't run that badly last time out. We'll see what happens. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back. Thanks to our friends at Saratoga Spring Water. We appreciate their support year-round as well. We appreciate the water also. Race number 6. So competitive market is going to be a heavy favorite. And very well may win this race. And I don't have any information on anybody, and it's hard to find anybody else. But the other thing is, this was a period where you really wanted to be on the rail on the turf course. And this was the outer, I guess. And this was a great ride by Manny coming up the gold rail. And listen, the winner of the race is probably pretty good. And she was unlucky, obviously, in the Miss Grillo. But, I mean, this horse just overachieved coming up the very good rail. And I feel like she's a little bit dressed up, and she's going to be an awfully short price today.
And I literally agree with everything you said. Source is probably the most likely winner.
Yep.
Just ran extremely well last time. Probably where you wanted to be on the racetrack. Ran against a very talented foe. Good race. I just think she's going to be a little overbet. So
Yeah, I just don't trust her.
yeah. And because I think she's as talented as I believe that she is, I thought the fact not that there's a lot of science to this, but I thought, well, just give the other Chad a shot in here. He's not going to, he's not going to enter horses that are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Just wait a week.
This horse has plenty of turf pedigree.
And so
Homebred, Javier's on. Javier won for Chad yesterday on a Clarvich horse. Javier, nice to see him back. He won 2 races on his return day, so good to see him back and good to see him in the winner's circle so quickly. And obviously an injury that lingered a little bit longer. I guess with Divine Rose, Divine Rose is a half to Leslie's Rose. And it's a weird family because the dam was on race. The second dam was a very nice dirt horse. But Wildwood Rose, the dam, is a Galileo, and I had asked Cherie why she ran this horse. I didn't ask if the horse was any good. And she said that really just feels like it's much more of a turfy pedigree with this horse, and so I just took this horse on top as the alternative. But I know absolutely nothing. It's a guess with a first-time starter.
yeah, Good Magic is a curling. He ran on the grass.
Yeah, no, I give no problem. He ran second. I was there that day. I felt like
Did
he
you pick
ran
him?
third. No, I wasn't working here.
How short was he?
Oh, it was like 2, 3 to 5. Actually, I think I had just started working, but I don't think I was freelancing for the first few months I was here. It was 08, I believe. It was 08, right? No.
No, before that. 7?
When was he?
No, it must have been 8 because 7 was his. 7 was his.
Yeah. I think Red Rocks won the race, I think. It was a rock hard turf when we ran the Man of War in summer, and he was a crazy, crazy underlay. He ran well, but he just didn't win. I looked at the Moore for sure, but I wish I could find the second dam. There's some turf pedigree, and maybe that horse could be dangerous for Tony Dutrow. But it's kind of like you're guessing with no matter who you take unless you have some information, but you kind of have the same feeling we wanted to pick against competitive market, who may win. But so race number 7. I guess the favorite will probably be 10 hours a day. We'll show his race 2 races back. And I guess he's kind of the horse to beat. But I'll tell you what, losing to Crusading in this race, I thought this was one ugly race. Today's race is ugly, but I think you and I are just hoping Salacious could wire the field, right?
100%. Hours in a Day, I think, is probably a better horse, but has a very bad setup today. And Salacious just from the inside, you'd think Katie'd be aggressive away from there. It's not the fastest horse in the world by any means, but her pace figures, she does have a significant edge against the rest of them.
I agree.
I just figured she's going to go to the front.
I wish I could find some wise guy horse to take in this race over these two, and God knows I looked.
Oh, the pace figures. I was searching. I was like, nothing was fast enough to challenge.
Yeah, I wanted to make a case. Comanche Peak was only on the dirt once and has improved since then, but is such a lagger, And I just didn't want to take a horse lagging behind. I wanted to be forward. So you and I saw this the exact same way. I just don't think there's much to say about it. Well, race number 7 features the only scratch from the body of the race today. So, of course, it was a horse that I picked, race number 8, excuse me. We switched to race 8. I had picked on top. I liked Landoro a lot today. It was actually one of the few horses in this card I was really looking forward to betting. And I just didn't want to take the horse you have on top, just step on it on top. We'll take a look at him at Parks, 2 back, running a good second. The Samari Jones will probably win it. I don't know. I kind of want to see this horse bring his game to New York and run as well, but his recent form is obviously better than these.
Yeah, he just, it was one of those deals where he ran okay enough at Parks and the Smarty Jones. He ran well there. And then he ran okay enough in the Haskell that I felt like he was just probably better than these other horses.
He ran well in the Haskell. There's nothing wrong with his Haskell.
Yeah, no, I just – and I liked where he's drawn. He gets Lasix back, put a line through his last race.
Why do you like outside posts in mile and 1/8 races here in the dirt?
Because I like –
caught wide.
Yeah, but I don't mind if it's a mile. If you get beat because you're wide in a mile and 1/8 race, you probably weren't best.
I don't know. I think we would disagree a little bit. And I wonder if that hurts Nunzio, who breaks inside of him. Now it's post 6 now. Isn't he going to have to deal with Get a Job like he did last time? I don't want Get a Job. I feel like he kind of should have won last time. I'm a little bit against Get a Job in this race, to be honest.
Yeah, I am too. Unless he's one of those horses that appreciates kind of just being able to lope along on a little bit of a slower pace out on the front end. You know what I mean? Like going a mile and an eighth. And
But Nunzio's got to be right out top of him. You don't think Ricardo's going to rate him, right?
yeah, I mean, first pass, I
He's
started.
supposed to
I
go,
was going to
too.
pick Get a Job, and somehow he ended up sliding to my third choice.
I'm interested in the 5 Liberty Central with a scratch. I had picked the race 285, but just sort of changed it around because I want to pick against Just Step On It, who is the worst to beat. And as far as Liberty Central, I'm not convinced he really wants a mile and an eighth, but he did catch the slop last time and sort of ran in spots in there. He was outrun for the lead. Now he's going to be outrun for the lead again, but I've always felt he had some ability, and I want to give him one last chance. And for me, he's the best alternative to Just Step On It because I'm not a big fan of Get a Job.
Yeah, if you don't love a 5-2 shot and don't love a 2-1 shot, and a 9-2 shows up and is interesting, makes total sense.
He's just the best alternative I could get. I'm not sure the last race today isn't one of the more interesting races on today's card. I want to show Java Buzz and Hilarious Affair's last race when Java Buzz was arguably best in here, though the winner did circle the field and beat the bias. I mean, Java Buzz got sort of bumped after the start and wasn't up front, and he was like 2-3 lengths behind and just absolutely flew, and not surprisingly fell apart. He was with the bias on the inside, and I think it's important to note that Hilarious Affair gets a tremendous ride from Joel coming up the rail on a gold rail and saving all the ground. I just don't trust Java Buzz and didn't want to put him on top. And I thought he'd get some pressure from your horse because you picked Catamosto, and I'm sort of wondering where you're going with him.
I'm very excited about it. This is my on the train. Who do you like today, horse? The 1A and the last, yeah.
Part of an entry where they're going to bet Fauci too on the drop down.
And that's the most annoying part about it, because I like him. It's kind of funny why I like. So he's gelded, right? Remember Fauci was good, got gelded, came back, ran well, and then he went bad again.
He's gone
but
bad.
he did come back.
I put him third as a drop down, but he was pathetic last time.
And this horse has some talent. He was second to Big Invasion back in the day. I think he's going to run well in this spot off the gelding.
Year and 15-month layoff.
Yeah. I think this. Yeah, I mean, it's you're turf sprinting.
It's going to take on Java Buzz and beat him.
He doesn't. I mean, he's gelded. He doesn't have to be the same horse. It's been so long. It's been over a year.
You're kind of a little overly excited by this.
I like this horse.
You're a little overly excited by the fact that he's gelded. Usually Maggie's the one who gets really excited about the geldings. It's not usually men who get overly excited about geldings. But hey, to each their own. Listen, he should be a decent enough price. I do see where you're going with his first turf race. I just haven't seen any form since then.
I do want to say I do hate the fact that he's in this entry that's going
Entries
to.
are terrible. Entries are terrible, and the idea that in 2024 we're still dealing with entries is remarkable. I don't like horses in this race. I know Feathers Road is totally random. It's David Jacobson. He could show up or not show up one race and the next. I was sort of going through and trying to make cases for horses in here, and I don't really feel like there's anybody that good. So maybe if you're right about the 1A, this is the right field for him because there's no superstars in here. And I started looking at Air Invasion, and I'm not sure why a horse with this pedigree, they've wanted to go longer with him. I'm not sure he's not supposed to be sprinting from day one. In his debut sprinting, I thought he ran fine. This is his last race where he won at a mile down at Gulfstream, and he beat Chow Chuck, who's, pretty good. I mean, he's still a maiden, but he's solid. And I looked up Clement. He doesn't have great numbers, but he's not terrible. Turf, he's like over 25%, 150 to 270 days layoffs in turf sprints, $1.83 ROI. I'm not sure he should have been sprinting all along. And the other thing is, you've got a horse that in the beginning of his 3-year-old year ran a 75 buyer. I mean, he's coming off a layoff. There's no reason he couldn't improve into the 80s here and run well enough to beat these horses. I thought he was really interesting.
I noticed the same thing you did. I wrote Pluggy, why not sprint sooner?
Yeah.
So,
well, his trainer's kind of an idiot, so maybe he just sort of didn't
well,
get it.
but in all seriousness, with this horse being,
Who said I was being serious?
yeah,
We're all kind of idiots, actually, when it comes down to it, but that's a whole other story.
with this horse being a half to Big Invasion, why do you think, after running so well first time turf sprinting, that in a serious, why do you think Christophe went 2 turns 4 times in a row?
Christophe, that's a really good question, and you're probably not watching because I know you're not training, but you've got to be doing something else. But maybe somebody will tell you, and I'm going to ask Christophe later why.
I feel like
I wonder too.
I try to ask myself what it means, and that's why I wrote Pluggy. I think it means that he kind of was fortunate that day to run as well as he did.
Yeah, I usually revert to the assumption that trainers just like to put their horses in the wrong spots way too often. That's my fallback position. But I'm happy to ask Christophe. I don't know. I saw Joel early. I don't think he would have known, but
You like Big Invasion in the turf sprint?
I like Big Invasion.
Me
I
too.
don't have any idea. No, he's not going to be Cogburn, but
yeah.
I like Big Invasion. I'll tell you who I like more. I've grown to really like Senbei. And I know it's Acacia's pet, but he's a cool horse.
Very cool.
And I'll tell you, he's not as good as the good Big Invasion, but I'm not sure they're not in a sort of similar place right now. And I guess he'll run the turf sprint. But I'm so far from having opinions in that Breeders' Cup, those Breeders' Cup races.
I love Cogburn. He's gonna be tough.
Gee, you picked him out. Yeah, you couldn't wait to do your video on that, right? We're all doing videos, short videos, handing out the races. And Jonathan grabbed the turf sprint faster than anyone's ever grabbed a race. I mean, I don't even think the email landed before you were in. I got the turf sprint.
It's easy. It's easier.
I assume that.
It's
yes.
easier.
Don't worry, Nick and I made fun of you immediately upon that email.
I'll say nice things about Star of Mystery. How about that?
She had some trip last time.
I'll say nice things about her.
She had some crazy trip last time. Yeah, she is a neat horse. I actually like her too. And we'll see where the race gets drawn. 5 furlongs at Del Mar ain't going to be her friend.
In fairness, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I will be all in on Cogburn and the Breeders' Cup betting challenge.
I think Cogburn is one of the more interesting horses that have run all year. I mean, he's impressive.
Really cool.
And the turf sprinters you've ever seen. We'll see what happens, Jonathan. Thanks as always. Jonathan will be on early on the show. You're on early, right? You're on early and I'm on late. Yeah.
It's a short show, though, right?
Well, it's 5 hours.
Is it?
Well, or 4.5 hours.
Oh, I don't know. That's how someone said that. I got confused.
Oh, you're on from 12:30 to 2:30?
Yeah.
I'm on from 2:30 to 5, so it's a little shorter for you. It's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. It's no big deal. I'm used to it. I actually come to work every day, unlike others. Shall remain nameless. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, use the promo code CUP25. We'll match with $200 your initial deposit and give you a $25 bet for the Breeders' Cup. I'm doing a Spaces for it on Wednesday night. Really excited. I just love Twitter Spaces. Track stats also coming up. You check them out at Naira Bets as well. The contest, you have until post time tomorrow to sign up. Get the $40 feed in today. You still have post time today. You're in the third race. Get all that info at nairabets.com/contest. And the show, the aforementioned show, 12:30 to 5 on FS2, covering all the action. Jonathan, thanks. Always a pleasure. And that does it for us. Chris Griffin's just getting warmed up. He'll be on up with a reprise scratch and change in just a few moments.
For almost 150For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.